What did you think of John Lynch's performance? It was a solo act. No one else was trying to be on the stage with him. It was all on him.
Yeah, so I actually think the way he answered the questions was fine. Not much else he could say. That was probably the best he could do. And in fact, I think he was better off not talking about it and doing what he did, because we have seen in the past that John Lynch can put his foot in his mouth a little bit by saying things that, at the
Talking.
time he's just talking and trying to just give information and sometimes providing the wrong information. Where I took issue with John Lynch, and I think I'm going to take this to a little deeper level if you're ready to go, is what he said at the beginning of his press conference. And I'm going to use two words that have been used to describe Deebo Samuel over the last month. Asking reporters to not ask questions about Deebo Samuel was childish and unprofessional. And the reason I say that is because it's his job. He's the leader of this, one of the leaders of this organization. It's his job to answer these questions and stand up to the media. Now, the way he answered them was totally fine, but requesting people not to ask those questions, in my opinion, was unprofessional. When athletes, after tough losses, walk away from pressers and ask you not to ask questions about something or take umbrage to those questions, they're called what? Childish and unprofessional.
Yep.
If Jaquaski Tart,
hey man, it comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Hey man, yeah.
It comes with the territory. Jaquaski Tart, one of the most criticized 49ers over the last month or so because of the dropped interception. If he had not done what he did, which was stand up, take immediate accountability in front of the media and stand for 5 minutes right after, he knew as much as anybody that, what dropping that interception meant in that football game and all of that. And if he didn't do that, people would have criticized him. People would have called him unprofessional. People would have said it doesn't come with the territory.
Not a stand-up guy.
Not a stand-up guy. Press conference is still legendary. And from that standpoint, I think John Lynch requesting that, no matter the manner, because he did request it in a totally different way, right? He wasn't angry or he wasn't contentious about it.
How did he do it?
He tried to say it as if, oh, I've been good to the media, so take this one a little bit easy on me.
That's unprofessional too, because what is he implying? What's the underlying logic in that?
Because it's quid pro quo. Because
do me a favor, because we have like a friendly relationship. Dude, we're not friends. We are not friends. You could be nice to us sometimes. When I see you, I'll smile and wave, and we've done business, but we're not friends. We don't do favors. That is not how you to even float that out there publicly at the beginning is like, I don't know.
I thought that was unnecessary.
No one honored the request. No one honored the request.
Right. And he, to his credit, he stood there and he answered the questions as he should have. Yeah. But I don't think he should have made that request at the beginning of the interview. He's the leader of this organization again. Nobody has spoken publicly since one of the 3 best football players on this team has publicly requested for a trade. He should have known these questions are coming, and he should have known that he had to answer them the way he did. Requesting reporters not to ask those questions was unprofessional on his part.
He also should have known that none of the reporters would have honored that. It's like he asked it thinking that, oh, I know Maddie. I know Matt. I know Eric. Like I really thought he thought that was going to work, and no one honored it, which again doesn't make him look great. It makes him look, I don't know what the word, I'm not going to say weak or whatever. It doesn't make him look in control of things. He tried to control. First of all, he tried to say, this is how the interview is going to go. Like, actually, the journalists determine that. You can answer however you want to answer, but you don't get to set parameters. And then you try to play the friend card. Well, neither one worked. And you did it
right. And we can't reiterate that enough, right? He's entitled to answer these questions however he wants. And the way he answered the questions was absolutely fine. Right?
Totally yeah.
It was totally fine.
Yeah.
But him asking you not to ask those questions before the presser, it was unprofessional from the standpoint of, I don't want to stand up and have this conversation. Now, he spoke it under the lens of, we can't talk about this publicly, but you can answer the questions the exact way he did without divulging any information publicly. I thought he was a little bit in bad faith when he says we never do business where we air our dirty laundry in public or talk about these things in public, especially after the Brandon Ayuk situation earlier this year. That kind of pissed me off a little bit. Yeah. They aired Brandon Ayuk's dirty laundry publicly. Now that situation has been rectified. I don't want to again get back into it, but again, I have no issues with how he answered the questions. As a fan, would I have loved for him to give me every detail about the Deebo situation and why we're here and all that? 100%. Was he ever going to do that? No. But did I take umbrage to the fact that he asked to not be asked those questions at the beginning of the press conference? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
He's a leader. His job is to take these questions. It comes with the territory. That's like Jimmy Haslam saying after getting Deshaun Watson, hey guys, we just traded for Deshaun Watson. Please don't ask any questions about Deshaun Watson's 22 impending civil
True.
cases because
True.
we don't want to answer these questions. That's what that would have been
It's
like.
true. Real quick though, I think some Niner fans would have liked to hear John Lynch say something to the effect of, "We're not trading Deebo Samuel. I'm going to work this out with Deebo. Forget what you've heard. I got time. I know Deebo. I'm going to work this out." He didn't say that. He didn't say Deebo. There's no way they're not going to trade. He said again, we could trade anyone. So it's again, it doesn't sound like this is going to get. I mean, they might hold him against his will, but it doesn't sound like they're going to actually like.
I mean, he didn't
Find the
say
like
that, but then he
amicable
said that,
solution
right?
to this.
He
It
said
just
we
doesn't
don't
seem like
trade players like Deebo Samuel. So he was kind of just
pump up his
again,
value.
he was answering the questions to just get through them without divulging information. I'm sure that he might have contradicted himself because he was just trying to answer what question was in front of him without thinking, oh, I answered this question this way. Because did it feel to you like he was thinking very deeply, answering a lot of these deeper Debo questions? I didn't feel that way. I thought he was just trying to give you the most generous face value answer to kind of shift away, and he was hoping
Let
for a
me ask
draft
you this.
question.
Let me ask you this. How would you describe his body language? It was a half an hour. He was up there by himself. Remember last year, Kyle Shanahan wanted to be there, make it a group press conference because they were talking about quarterbacks. This year, John was on his own by design. What did you think of his body language?
I think he was a little uncomfortable. I think he gave that nice introduction and he gave that nice speech thanking everybody with this, really, really confident professionalism, thinking that, people aren't going to ask Debo questions. He can ask, get a few like 6 questions about the draft, one question about Mac, one question
That's
about
what he thought.
McCarthy and move
It
on.
was
Yeah.
great. It was
And I
great.
think
Yeah.
he was a little taken aback by it, but I honestly, I didn't read much into his body language. I wanted to drive home that point, right? Because again, we hold athletes to a standard that we don't hold any other professionals in this business to. And I think it's time that, if we're going to hold athletes to a certain media standard, where's Barry a baller when you need him?
Such a good
Um,
impression. Yeah. No,
if
I
we're
think
going
that's
to
a great
hold
point.
athletes to a
Yeah.
certain professional or standard, then we've got to hold that same standard to media members. And in John Lynch's case, like he has no excuses. Now, he didn't get up. He didn't say, "Oh, I requested you." He tried once, and then he realized this is a runaway train he can't stop. So he just stood there and answered the questions. But
Let me just say, like from my experience, his body language, he reeked of someone who knew he didn't have good answers. I
yeah,
mean, he's a stand-up guy. He went out there, he answered the questions. He knew he had to do something, and it was on him as his job. But he didn't seem like someone who felt confident about anything.
I don't know if it's good answers, Grant, as much as at this point I don't think he had the answers that would make people feel
Exactly,
assured.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can't win this press conference, bud. Like,
Yeah.
you're pretty much you got nothing good to say. You got nothing.
Yeah, and
You can't talk your way out of this one today.
right, and he's in a difficult spot, right?
Yes.
This being the first presser since the owners' meeting, and given all that's gone on since then, and
Um,
he has to come out and really be the one to make a public statement.
He could have
And
done this last week. That's on him. A lot of GMs did this last week.
right,
So this is
right.
essentially John's fault. John, you learned. You should have done this last week. Should have done it last week. Missed it. I'll take some questions. Janet says Grant with the savage questions during the press conference. Also, Lynch saying there is no major needs for the team scares me as a Niner fan. Oh, he said they had a really good a good offseason.
Yeah, which I mean, again, what else is he supposed to say? We did awful this offseason.
I don't. I mean, him saying we had a good offseason doesn't reassure fans. I mean, fans know. Fans
no, but it's also like when do you guys remember Trent Baalke's pressers
you can't incriminate
in 2015
yourself.
and 2016 when he, everybody knew he did stupid stuff and he made bad draft picks and he made stupid decisions as the GM and hiring Jim Tom Sula, firing Jim Tom Sula, but it's same thing the way Jed York answered your dad's question.
Right.
You don't
What do you want me
fire
to say?
owners. Like, what is he supposed to say?
I get
What do
it.
you want him to say? He can't say
But
anything.
at the same
there.
time,
Yeah.
I have to ask the question. He has to answer the question. And again, his body language to me was a guy who's like, dude, what am I supposed to say? Well, yeah, you created the situation, man. Sorry. Do better.
Yeah.
I don't let this happen in the future.
I think he would have just been better off. I think the whole presser would have gone differently if he just said at the beginning, thanked everybody for the draft, and then he said, let's talk about Debo.
Get it over.
And you ask him questions, and then he said, well, look, This situation obviously is public. It's been reported on. I don't want to divulge anything because I owe that to Debo. We're gonna keep things under wraps. And you guys can ask questions about it, but I'm not gonna tell you about it and just keep it at that and moved on. If it was that way, I think the presser would have looked a lot different. But him prefacing it with that and then saying don't ask questions about Debo is what made him look a little bit funny in my opinion.
TJW says John Lynch today was insubordinate and churlish. That's hilarious. Jeremy Ownby says, I wonder if Debo's caving under pressure of attaining generational wealth, or is this all planned by his agent? I think
I'm sure he's anxious.
I'm sure he's anxious, but I'm sure his agent is driving this one. His agent is not trying to do the Niners a solid. His agent is not the kind of guy who's like, yeah, let me help Parag Marate win this. His agent is getting record contracts for second-tier players like Denzel Ward. He's not messing around. Uncle Ron says,
hey. Why does Denzel Ward need to catch a stray right there? Denzel
no,
Ward's
I
a
didn't
hell
mean
of a player.
I didn't mean like, yeah, but he's probably not a top 5 corner in the league.
No, probably not.
Yeah,
Probably
that's all I'm
not.
saying. So,
Yeah,
so
okay,
good for
fair enough.
Corey Dandy for pulling that off.
Yeah,
Uncle
true,
Ron
true,
says, do
true.
you think the Niners will trade up? Yeah, with Debo. I don't know. What do you think? You think they're gonna move up from 61?
No, because I thought like the actual draft part of the presser, John Lynch was pretty accurate, right? He said we have 9 picks. It's a deep draft.
Yeah.
Niners still have a lot of positions to address in terms of depth and in terms of he talked about competition, right? Niners need competition at a few different spots. In terms of guys starting, in terms of middle round guys. So I'm assuming that they're gonna try and sit pretty at 61, unless Debo Samuel gets them a first round pick because they're probably better off accumulating depth and talent overall anyway.
Scotty P says, I believe John Lynch saying they picked up Bosa's 5th-year option could be a hint to delay big money in order to give Debo the offer he wants. Thoughts?
Oh, I thought that entire interaction indicated that the Bosa deal might not be this offseason. I got that kind of vibe from him. I don't know if you did.
He also
said we haven't even entered negotiations. He said Nick Bosa is a franchise player, and when the time comes, we will enter that negotiation and try to.
And you know what else he said? That Bosa's not at the offseason trading program.
Oh yeah. But he wasn't there last year too. He came in a little bit in the middle. He always works out in Florida. This is what I'm saying. George Kittle has historically worked out in Nashville. Nick Bosa has historically worked out in Florida. Why was it ever a big deal that Debo Samuel didn't want to come to California and work out?
Is George Kittle not here
worked out
right now?
No,
he's not.
No.
All right. You sure?
Right? He's not, right? I thought.
I didn't know that. They said they had over 90%. I didn't know that. Anyway, Bosa's not here, and they said it has nothing to do with the
I thought
contract.
George Kittle was in Nashville. I don't know.
Okay.
Don't hold me to it. I have no clue. I thought he wasn't.
DSR.
I don't think it's a big deal either. Whatever you need to do. I've heard Shannon Sharp talk about this. He said he never used to show up to anything voluntary because he didn't want to take the chance of getting hurt. He knew that he was going to get his body right in the offseason. He knew he would be ready to go. Like, it doesn't matter. It's voluntary. As long as you show up ready to go, does it really matter if you're there for the voluntary workouts?
Yeah, we don't know if he's not there. We don't know why. We don't know. It could be about the contract. John Lynch said it's not, which makes you think it is. I mean, anytime he's like, hey, don't worry, it's not about the contract. I'm like, oh, well, you just, there it is. You just incriminated yourself. Thank you. I don't know. We'll see. I'm monitoring it. DSR Review says Niners front office has misfired on nearly everything this offseason. Grant for GM, fire Lynch, fire Parag. How about me and Vish replace?
Not a chance.
Put up a poll right now. Who would you rather have running the Niners, me and Vish or Parag and John? Who do you think would win that on Twitter? I think
Parag and John.
I think our stock is higher right now.
No chance, Grant. Come on. No, but the reality of the situation is, look, we cannot evaluate this offseason technically until next season because, again, they still have their saving grace of Trey Lance. And if Trey Lance is great, we forget this offseason. We forget last offseason. We forget all of this. And everybody's a genius. Everybody's really smart. And Trey Lance, saves everybody.
No. They still have their saving grace of Jimmy Garoppolo and his leadership because when Jimmy plays, they just win.